Hi, I'm Ed Zackery, Director of the Medina County Veterans Service Office. And this month on Salute to Service, I'm joined by United States Air Force veteran Mark Roberts. Mark's one of our commissioners here at the Medina County Veterans Service Office. Welcome to this month's Salute to Service. This month I got United States Air Force retired Mark Roberts with us. Mark, how you doing?
Good, Ed.
So tell me a little bit, where are you from originally? Because I know it's not around here.
I'm a real live hillbilly from Tennessee.
Whereabouts in Tennessee?
Grew up in the Smoky Mountains.
Oh, wow.
And that's probably one of the reasons I ended up in the military. Was there wasn't a whole lot going on in East Tennessee except Oak Ridge National Laboratories, and had a lot of family that worked there, a lot of family that served, and kind of just decided I needed to get out of there for a while.
Have you been back to Oak Ridge lately, or?
No.
No?
Well, we're going next week.
Okay.
For a few days, but no, it was the best thing that ever happened to me is getting.
Did you go right into the Air Force, like out of high school? Or?
No.
Okay.
I actually went to Tennessee Tech University and decided to have an engineering degree, and had a great scholarship. Did really good. Got toward the end of my junior year, and they wanted money, and I didn't have any.
Usually, that's kind of how it goes.
Yeah, well, that was we had that conversation,
Right.
and I actually left for the summer and went to work for Coca-Cola USA in marketing, and it was an incredible job, getting ready for the World's Fair, but they were working us literally to death. One of the hardest I'd ever worked in my life, and I was kind of used to hard work. And I was going down the road in a red truck with Coca-Cola on the side of it, and I saw a sign that says Air Force Recruiter.
Yeah, it looked a little better.
And I stopped in to say hey and talked to them for a little while, and subsequent meetings over the course of probably 6 or 8 weeks, and he had me signed on the dotted line.
You think a university should take the approach of maybe like the job they get you, then you pay them back based on that? A little more incentive to...
Yeah. Well, and I even talked to ROTC, but that was Army.
Right.
And I was like, well, it's kind of not, kind of third on my list of different branches. Right. So I decided that, and again, one of the things I discussed with the recruiter was education.
Right.
And he threw down some sheets about all the money that they would put up, and I could go to school and work at the same time, and all of that really, really appealed to me.
And there's a whole lot more Air Force jobs that transfer over to the civilian world than Army jobs. So I could attest to that, yeah.
And I didn't start out in one of those, but that was okay.
So what did you do in the Air Force?
I had 5 different AFSCs, which are the job descriptions, but I started out in a operations collection of information in a mobile type unit, joint task force type. I did that for a while and learned to do my own development of tools, and we were kind of all over the world at one point or another, doing a lot of different fun things. And I got an opportunity, post getting hurt fairly badly, to go into a research and development center at Tinker Air Force Base.
Oh, okay.
Building systems, building these
computer systems,
specialized communications systems. Yeah. They were, and it's, again, really intriguing because instead of sending me directly to the next assignment, they sent me to another pretty advanced school at the Air Force Institute of Technology, and got me some incredible training. But the whole time I was trying to take a class here and there, but that gave me a real opportunity to really get after, knocking out some degrees and so forth.
So how long were you in for before you retired?
24 years.
Active duty, or is that a combined?
No. So yeah, that's even another whole crazy story.
Always is, man. Life has life's a bell curve, right?
Yeah, and that's what I said. Of all the things in the world, I had a great career, incredible opportunities that just, I even have a hard time talking about them because nobody will believe you even if you tell them.
Yeah.
But I was doing some incredible work through the Gulf War.
The first Gulf War.
The first Gulf War. The first Gulf War.
I don't know. Some people are the first, the second. I don't know. I'm always like,
Gulf War.
To me, the Gulf War is the first one. But
well, we did Desert Shield, and then we were building up some different things, and doing a lot of successful things with the tools we had to work with at that time. Because again, no laptops, no any of those things at that point. You got to think about how much technology has come about. But we were, as I said, we were being extremely successful. And one of the things that I had developed, they wanted to tailor to an agency that I couldn't be on active duty to work on. They wanted me to go to Wright-Patterson as a reservist. So they palace fronted me into the 906th Air Wing at Wright-Patterson.
So then how many years active duty before you went in the reserves?
Almost 11.
Almost 11. It's quite a few.
Yeah.
And then how many years in the reserves?
13 and a half. Yeah.
And so when you got out, I assume you're working for DOD or somebody in the government, doing whatever you were doing in the Air Force, kind of.
Yeah.
And then you retired from that job.
It gets better. So the 906 got riffed.
Closed down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Completely. They sent a message. Hey, we're shutting down. You have to go somewhere else. I had finished all of the things. They had projects that I was building for them, and I did all those things, and was just kind of hanging out, having a good time. We were, doing different things along, but they're like, "Well, you got to leave. I mean, got to find a place to go." I had friends at Wright-Patterson in the Air National Guard, and I called them up and I said, "Hey, can I stop by and talk to you about maybe transferring
over?" Yeah.
And they're like, "Sure, we'll make you something, a trainer." Yeah, we'd let you teach anything.
Anything, just don't want to go anywhere else. Yeah.
Drop me in a slot.
Yeah.
I'm good. And it worked seamlessly. In fact, me and my wife both transferred to Wright-Patterson. She was a civilian during the first Gulf War and got recalled to active duty.
Oh, wow.
That was a crazy time of my life.
So who outranks who?
We finished the same.
Oh, okay.
We finished the same.
I meant in the Air Force. I didn't mean at home.
I know. Yeah, you know how that goes.
Yeah.
So, but no, it was, again, I got fortunate to get in, and within a short period of time of being at Mansfield, the judge advocate stops me and says, will you come to work for me? I go, doing what?
Yeah, not your forte, right?
She goes, running my office. Well, and she'd come, she'd saw that I had some skills and didn't have a problem with speaking to people, and somewhat level-headed. I went to training, went to more training, and became the law office manager at Mansfield for this colonel. And we ended up, during the next few things with 9/11 and all the things that went that, getting activated again and doing a lot of crazy things overseas, and just really supporting the effort. They trained me on the Air Operations Center JAG roles, which was.
So where'd you go overseas?
We based in Germany,
okay,
and then flew out of there to different locations around or wherever. they needed specific.
It's funny because the Air Force, you know, the Army's big. We go everywhere, right?
Yeah.
But it's like you get to these places and it's like, who's running that? And you're like, the Air Force. And you're kind of like, why is the Air? I mean, you guys do so much like just, you know, you think like Air Force, like you're flying planes and dropping bombs or stuff. But no, you know, like you guys got, well, they're building buildings. Well, why is the Air Force doing that? What's what they do? Like, you just got all these little nuances with the Air Force. Like all our refrigeration and air conditioning guys in Afghanistan were all Air Force guys. And it's like, well, why is the Air Force doing that? You know, it's like, you know, but I guess it makes sense because you kind of build and control the airfields and all that stuff, you know. But yeah, it is kind of crazy all the nuances that the Air Force has.
And that, you know, that continued with, and in fact, I had an interesting conversation this weekend at the state meeting concerning the fact that when you talk about documentation of your career, my documentation is about like this, because I had like 3 years of TDY.
Right, yeah, so it doesn't go
everywhere in the world at one point or another, but the TDYs don't show up on anything specifically.
Yeah.
You have to dig and hopefully keep an order or whatever. And
so tell people, keep everything
and that
you
was
can.
literally from day one, you know, they would TDY you places and things and do training and schools, and all these were just under temporary orders.
And the Reserve and Guard is horrible at keeping paper.
Horrible.
Yeah.
It's hilarious how bad.
Yeah.
You know, but again, I got credit for the days, you know, that I was activated and reactivated and reactivated, but which, you know, turned out well today because I'm, you know, post 60 years old.
So you bring that up about the records and everything. So and you serve on the Veterans Service Commission now for what, about 3 years?
Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, we deal with a lot of people with records and stuff like that. What would you tell someone that came up and said, well, I did this, but I can't prove it? I mean, how do you continue to try to find information or not find information? Or at what point is it just, it's gone?
And that's amazing. I continue, again, I would think, I wanted to be the expert in that. In fact, I had another conversation with a guy that is doing transition information for people that are getting out and the records and so forth and so on. And it amazes me how bad that disconnect is. And, you know, if you don't think of it prior to getting out and, you know, again, transferring and you're in different units and, you know, thank goodness I had all of the days and everything, you know, from day one to last day that gave me all the credit for the time served, so to speak. But it's amazing to me how bad that the rest of those records are. I mean, it's just hilarious.
Do you think that some people believe that there is a record for everything? And I know in the military, we're like, you know, you got a CQ, they log everybody that comes into the building. You know, you got, you know, units got their daily logs and everything. But when you really think about it, especially when you're in a combat zone, it's pretty easy to go get on a helicopter or an airplane and just go somewhere else and nobody really knows. I mean, some Joe Schmo like the crew chief, who are you? Well, I am First Sergeant. So, okay, got you, go ahead. But there's no record of it, you know, or if there is, Lord knows where it's at. And I think we think later on in life that, well, somebody's got to have known that, you know, because I told somebody, right?
Yeah.
But there really isn't.
There isn't.
Yeah.
There really isn't. And I've been, I had the same conversation with the folks down at the VFW. I said, I've literally got years in different zones at different times.
And nobody knows.
And I couldn't prove it. Saved my life today.
Right.
Even though I've got photographs, you show you a picture, I can show you a decoration, but
I tell people, you know, when they're looking for records to do stuff, that, like, you know, if there's no document, then it really, I mean, it's your word against someone else's when we're looking at benefits. And sometimes you really do got to puzzle that. You know, we've been able to take a letter home from a veteran to a spouse from the 1950s and a photo with a license plate and go, he was there. It's provable. Yeah. And that's not an official record, but it's proof.
Right.
And so sometimes you got to think out of the box. But yeah, it's kind of crazy. So let's talk a little bit about, so how did you get to Medina? And, you know, from Oak Ridge, Tennessee. And how'd you get here, and what do you do now besides run the Veteran Service Commission with 4 other guys?
Well, one of the things that I've gotten good at is retiring, and I've done that 3 times.
I don't think you've gotten good at it because you keep doing something else. You know?
Yeah, and again, the commission's been wonderful. The commander of the AMVETS, I hadn't been in AMVETS very long. I just run into these guys at one of their where they had a table set up, and they're like, "Hey, you belong to any organizations?" I went, "Well, no, hadn't really done anything along those lines." They said, "Well, you should come visit with us and talk to us, and see what you think." And so I came to a few meetings and signed on the dotted line, gave them my money, and got my card. And commander of the AMVETS said, "Well, we've got this position we need to fill. Would you mind applying for it?" I said, "Well, what is it?" I said, "Well, it's a commission position, but we need to submit several names." And okay, that sounds like something that would get me back involved.
Right.
Coming to Medina was an interesting, as we had discussed everywhere else in the world except Medina. My wife grew up here.
Okay.
All her family was here, and she had a huge family, huge extended family. And we got assigned to Wright-Patterson, but we needed somewhere to homestead. And we bounced around, Dayton, Columbus, but I was going to have to go away for a while.
You want to be close to family. Yeah.
And so I was like, well, let's go there.
Right.
See if, it's not a bad drive. 3 hours, we can get to Dayton and back, We have to come down here for a couple days, so be it. And so we rented a house here, and the guys treated me incredibly well. I had a little background in the fire service, and her brother was an officer with Medina Township, and he's like,
with the fire department, right?
The fire department, yeah. Said, "Come on board."
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
And so I got pretty heavily involved, and then they just kind of drag you in to that lifestyle.
Kind of like the veterans groups,
Kind of like the guys, yes, very, very good. And we kind of decided we really liked Medina County, and I talked the little nurse that lives up on Old Weymouth into sell me a little piece of land.
Okay.
And I rented a bulldozer and built me a house.
There you go. So now you're here. You got roots.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And we've been in the same spot now, almost 35 years. So crazy.
So it's funny because growing up as a kid up in Parma, I thought everybody was from Oak Ridge that lived in Medina because it was like the southern, this is way out there, but it's booming. So the Veteran Service Commission, you've been on it now 3 years, as we mentioned. What do you see the Veteran Service Commission as for Medina County? I mean, and I'm not talking about, statewide. I'm talking about how do you see what we do, what we could do better, what we can do? I mean, where do you see it going?
Well, I mean, coming on day one, I was impressed with the vision. And that's what I love about what we do, is the vision of how good can we be? How many people can we touch? How many people can we make a difference in their lives? And I saw that as a vision, even though it was kind of like, well, we're here.
Right.
This is where we want to be, but we're down and we're here. And I'm like, well, being a part of that to me was, an honor. I mean, just unbelievable that took place, and that was, and again, I started trying to be a student of the process. And then, as you know, I mean, we accomplished unbelievable things. You throw down an architectural drawing and say, we're going to spend a little bit of money and rebuild our building from the ground up. We're going to move into a swimming pool basement of a dilapidated building, and we're going to make do. Yeah. And we're going to continue
in 3 days.
In 3 days, and but to really make a difference, and that's been my commitment from that perspective is. Whatever that is, whatever that takes to make a difference in what we can accomplish. And one of the things that we talk about a lot is, are we reaching the people? Mm-hmm. And in fact, this past weekend, I played our little ad to a large group to say, this is what we've accomplished recently. Right. And I'm extremely proud of where we've come from that perspective. I said, our biggest issue is getting butts in seats. Right. And that haunts me on a daily basis, is how can I reach out and get people here to see what we're doing and what you all have accomplished, and the growth. And I mean, it's just, again, I'm extremely proud of this operation and how we've accomplished what we have. Us being a very small part of that, but supporting it in any way that we can. I mean, just being there to say, you've got somebody to talk to, sounding board, outreach, whatever that is that we can do better or we can do to help you accomplish those goals, is why I want to be here. So, I mean, we get to help a lot of people here, and from a marketing perspective, you focus on the people you help and the good success stories. But what do you say, and we got to think about this every day, what do you say to the person that you can't help for whatever reason that is? Maybe it's a legal reason, maybe it's the law, maybe it's they don't, I mean, because you still got to have that same, it's not like, hey, we can't help you, go away. I mean, but how do you feel about it? Because when we say no, we feel it. It's not like it doesn't hurt us too, in some way, shape, or form. But what would be the explanation down the road to that person, as to go, here's what I felt, and here's why we couldn't help you, or here's whatever, and kind of put that in a broad perspective. Well, no, and that's it hurts deep, because you want to be able to help. Me and you went through that at one point last fall, where we had an individual, and his paperwork come back as not eligible, right. And then you go, oh, now what? What's you just, it hurts you to a core, because again, it was on them, not on us, but we still wanted to go down that path and try to help. But at the same time, and that's what I say over and over again, is, but those people that we have made a huge difference in their lives. That makes it worthwhile. Right. I think it's important for people to understand that it isn't personal. I mean, there's nobody, and even with the VA, I mean, I know a lot of people work for the VA. There's nobody at the VA going, I just don't like Tom here, so we're not going to help. I mean, there is and not to say mistakes aren't ever made, but there's rules, there's laws, there's regulations, and that's what people got to follow. And sometimes, unfortunately, the assistance you need just doesn't fit into that mold. But and we hear the stories. Well, such and such got this, right? And you go, well, I want that too. Well, but you didn't get hit by a truck in Afghanistan. Well, the other flip of that too is we can't share the story we know about someone else because of privacy. Right. You only got half the story. We got the whole story sometimes. Right. Yeah. So what's your vision as being one of the board members? We're going through a lot of changes here. We've did a lot of stuff in the last year and a half. Aside from moving in and out and starting stuff, what's your vision? What do you hope to see down the road, 1, 2, 5 years for the Veterans Service Commission, the Veterans Service Office here? I mean, what's your goal? I mean, because we know that we're not going to, it's just not in our blood to sit here. We're going to kick the can down the road. We're going to keep going. So what's your goal? Again, we're extremely fortunate. We've got great backing locally from a standpoint of, budgetary constraints and doing the things we think are important. By having our own medical center for VA in Medina County, that they're building, is going to be huge. Going to break ground next month, I heard. And us staffing that is huge. Yeah. to reach out to that many more people. And I had a great conversation 2 weeks ago with a old Vietnam vet, Navy guy, and it was so happenstance that it was almost bizarre that the situation happened, and actually got caught a little bit with my pants down because I'm telling him all about the great things we're doing.
Right.
And we're in Brunswick having this conversation. And we were literally stuck together for like a half hour. And we're just chatting about things. You've never been down there? No, never. I don't know anything about it. Oh, okay. Well, and even address, phone numbers, on and on. We're doing all this while we're standing in this line. And he goes, well, you know, I occasionally go to Wade Park. I go, oh, so you've got, he said, yeah, I'm 100% disabled. I said, and you didn't work with Ed Zackery, you know, with all your paperwork? Oh, no, not at all. Wow, okay. He lives in Strongsville and had been to the Cuyahoga County office, but I didn't find any of this out till 30 minutes into the conversation.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, we all got an office, and that's great that he's connected,
But yeah, we kept talking about the things, and he goes, well, do the other counties do the things you do? And I said, well, not to the greatest extent, but everybody's doing something.
Right.
So I said, there's a lot of things out there, and that, you know, we decided to get back together again. I took him, set him down, and had a meal with him. I didn't know him from Adam before, but we had these wonderful conversations. So that to me is, you know, I love talking to anybody.
That's how you connect.
Yeah. So that to me is something that we can do. And again, we've filled a little bit of that with outreach.
Right.
You know, we've got a person now. And, you know, that to me is the way that you know, you may have to go knock on doors at some point, but
we try to get them in the door. We do.
But that's the piece that I think we've done great, and we can continue to improve. But that's something I'm proud of.
Well, Mark, I ask everybody that comes on the show, if you had your opportunity to do it all over again, would you serve your country again?
In a second.
Thanks for coming on the show. We'll see you next month on Salute to Service. Join us August 3rd at the Medina County Fair for Veterans Day at the Medina County Fair. We'll have resources in the main pavilion for you to check out about veterans benefits, veterans information, veterans organizations. We'll also have entertainment. We'll have Guitars for Vets playing some of your favorite tunes from the past, and we'll have Big Dog Daddy serving lunch to our veterans. So stop by between noon and 3 p.m. at the main pavilion, August 3rd, Veterans Day at the Medina County Fair.